our last read-along week with Maria Mustapic's book, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll in Habsburg Vienna. And this time it's pages 170 to 207 and all about the parties. The Viennese reputation for being staid and boring somehow has managed to coexist with the reputation as the party city of Habsburg times. Stereotypes can be rough, but they can also be true. In this case, they certainly were. The court etiquette of the time was stifling and strict and rigidly enforced, as the Archduke Franz Ferdinand found out via the absolute nastiness directed toward his wife. On the other hand, Maria points out that a labyrinth constructed by Maria Theresa on the grounds of Schönbrunn Palace was used for secret assignations, prompting Emperor Franz Joseph to remark, "Things happen here that should not happen." Of course, he was doing those things too, but no one else should be. The ball season began on New Year's Eve and lasted while everyone was waiting out the weather within the city walls. This meant that people were putting in a lot of face time in various palaces, and palace construction of the time did not make allowances for, well, elimination. The problem was easily solved. Nobility could bring their own outhouses with them, although they were set up more like in-houses. But basically, people traveled around with their own toilets. It was a bit more involved for women. The large dresses made layers going to the bathroom quite a production. Instead, the servants of noble women would carry a sort of bedpan that could be used standing up with minimal disruption underneath their elaborate skirts. Rather than going to the bathroom came to these ladies, meaning they never had to leave the scene of the fun. The apotheosis of the Viennese party scene occurred over the 1814-15 season, when all of Europe crowded into the city for the Congress of Vienna, a post-Napoleonic restructuring of the continent. Balls, concerts, parties, everything was in abundance, at palaces, in private homes, and in the hard-working brothels of the city. This gave the Austrian Foreign Minister Metternich an opportunity. He enlisted the women of the city as his personal spies. And as spies, they were fantastically prolific and successful. Other attendees to the Congress soon got in on the female spy act as well, but they also succumbed to it. The Congress of Vienna coincided with something else that would be forever associated with the city: the waltz. Initially a peasant dance, which horrified and titillated because the dancers were held so close together, it became all the rage and reached the highest heights when Johann Strauss II burst onto the scene. And lest anyone think the screaming fans of Taylor Swift are some kind of modern phenomenon that began with Elvis and the Beatles, Strauss spent the 19th century being chased by waltz groupies who would scream and swoon when he kicked off his three-quarters beat. Demand for locks of his luscious, curly hair reached such heights that he adopted a black poodle whose job was to satisfy demands without risking his hairline. Really, it was quite a cushy gig for the dog. Of course, there's more. So much more. And luckily for us, Maria brought receipts. History may be gossip, but that gossip shaped the world we live in today. If you enjoyed our read along and would like to hear more, if the stories of sex, drugs, and rock and roll in Habsburg times have piqued your interest, Maria not only wrote the book, but she leads the tours. And you can join her in investigating all the lurid and wonderful sights she describes in Viennese history. It all had far more influence on current events than you might think. What a fantastic end to our first book club read along. We'll be back next week to our newest season of our Third World podcast and our Aristea podcast. There's so much more gossip to uncover together.
Oh, I love it!